My school banned hoodies, so my friend wore a feather boa and broke the whole dress code. Our school had this wild rule, no hoodies, ever, because hoods look suspicious. It didn't matter if it was freezing outside. The second you walked in, security would spot a hood and make you pull it off right there in the hallway, like it was a banned item. My friend Maya got dress coded 3 times in 1 week, and she was done. She's the kind of person who's cold in July, and her mom works 2 jobs, so they can't keep buying new sweaters just to satisfy the office. That weekend, Maya showed up in our group chat with one message. If they hate hoodies so much, I'll give them anything but a hoodie. Monday morning, I'm at my locker when I hear a bunch of laughing and a few shocked gasps near the front doors. I turn and almost spill my coffee. Maya walks in like she's on a runway, but it's the weirdest runway ever. She's got a pink feather boa around her neck, a glittery cape hangs off her shoulders, and huge fuzzy earmuffs that look like they were made for the North Pole. She's also wearing normal clothes under it all, but you can barely see them. Mr. Peterson, the security guard, just freezes with his mouth open. She smiles and keeps walking like nothing's wrong. "Excuse me, miss," he says, trying to sound tough. "What exactly are you wearing?" Maya turns with the calmest face I've ever seen. "These aren't hoodies, sir," she says. "I read the dress code and it bans hoodies with hoods, but it doesn't ban boas, capes, or earmuffs." Then she pulls up the policy on her phone and reads it out loud, line by line, while kids crowd behind her. Mr. Peterson looks down the hall like he's waiting for backup, but nobody comes. He can't write her up because she's right. He finally waves his hand like, "Fine," and she glides away, feathers bouncing with every step. By lunch, everyone had seen pictures. By the end of the day, people were asking Maya what else was allowed. Tuesday morning, 3 more kids copied her in their own way. One girl wore a fancy fur scarf that looked like it belonged in an old movie. A guy from my math class showed up with a blanket draped over his shoulders like a superhero cape. The assistant principal stood at the hallway corner with a clipboard. He scanned everyone like a hawk, but he couldn't point to a single line anyone broke. He tried to tell the blanket kid to take it off. The kid asked, "Which rule number?" The assistant principal flipped through the handbook, got red in the face, and walked away. At first period, our teacher paused mid-sentence and just stared at the blanket kid like her brain needed a restart. Wednesday was when it exploded. Kids came in wearing bathrobes, shawls, capes, and blankets tied with belts. Some people used safety pins. Some used duct tape. One kid cut armholes into a sleeping bag and waddled down the hall like a puffed-up astronaut. The office tried a new move. They announced over the loudspeaker that costumes weren't allowed. Right away, Maya raised her hand in class and asked, "Where does it say that?" The teacher didn't even answer. She just sighed and kept teaching. At the doors, Mr. Peterson stopped a kid wrapped in a quilt and said, "That's not school attire." The kid shrugged, pinched the quilt edge and said, "It's a blanket, not a hoodie," and walked past. By 4th period, the hallways looked like a weird winter parade. Students were laughing, teachers were frustrated, and the admin staff kept huddling in the office, whispering like they were planning a rescue mission. Thursday morning, it got even more creative. A kid walked into 1st period wearing his grandma's church shawl with a scarf wrapped around his head. Another girl made a poncho out of a shower curtain and said it was weather protection. Someone else wore 2 scarves tied together like a giant collar, then dared anyone to call it a hood. Parents started posting photos online with captions like, "What is happening at this school?" By lunchtime, a local news crew was outside the front doors, asking students why they were dressed like this. The principal looked like he hadn't slept in days. During 6th period, a district staff member walked through the hallway, stared at the sleeping bag kid, and whispered, "Is this real?" Friday morning, admin tried one last crackdown. Teachers were told to send anyone wrapped in bedding to the office. But when half of 1st period got up at once, our teacher just put her head in her hands and said, "Sit down, I'm not doing this." You could feel the whole school waiting for the next move, like we were holding our breath. Friday afternoon, right before the last bell, every student got an email from the administration. After reviewing the policy and student concerns, hoodies were now allowed on campus as long as the hood stayed down during class. The hallway erupted, and Maya leaned on her locker, grinning, while Mr. Peterson read it and stayed quiet. Now they're saying the feather boa stunt was too far. Was I wrong?